Can any American rider halt the victory march of the lone foreigner in the field? Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Myers. Welcome to Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge. With me, former Supercross star and Texan Steve Wise. Steve, I ask you that question. Can anyone beat Jean-Michel Bayle?
Larry, Damon Bradshaw has won twice this year, and Jeff Stanton won 3 times. So the obvious answer is yes, he can be beat. But the rider that beats Jean-Michel Bayle is going to have to ride a flawless race to do it.
Absolutely. Good point. Very good point. Now, Wendy Walsh earlier talked to some of the American riders. Here's what they had to say.
Larry, they all agree with Steve. Stanton, Bradshaw, Matasevich, and Ward, and many others think that they're going to beat the Frenchman tonight. Many think that Jean-Michel Bayle's winning streak will come to an end tonight in Dallas, Texas. Of course, thinking it and doing it are 2 different things, so we'll see, Larry. Back to you now.
Thank you very much, Wendy. We'll see indeed when we return with Supercross action right after this. Welcome back to Dallas, Texas, and Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge. A pair of main events coming up. This is the 125 class, taking a final look at the track. Still to come, the Coors Light Challenge for 250cc riders and machines. Now let's take a look at the track with the riders. A long starting straightaway here in Dallas with a right-hand sweeping corner at the end of it. From that point, there are double jumps, single jumps, there are triple jumps. Some of them will propel the rider up to 70 feet in the air. There are whoop-de-doos and plenty of them. These are obstacles that are designed to unseat or unbalance the toughest rider. All in all, it's a tough track here in Dallas. It's going to be a very exciting one. Will provide for good racing. In the 125 class, there are actually 2 divisions, a Western region, and here are the standings in that region, and the Eastern region. Here are the standings there. These 2 classes are running together, although they will be scored independent of each other. There are 2 champions named at the end of the season in the 125 class, East and West. Now, normally they do race independent of each other, but 3 times during the season they get together to bump heads. That provides for exciting racing. We'll have that here tonight in Dallas. Now, before the gate drops on this 125cc race, let's take a look at one of the rituals conducted by the AMA, the sanctioning body of Supercross, that precedes every event.
The technical inspection is a process where we inspect the bikes, the equipment that they are wearing, the motor numbers or the frame numbers on the machine, so they can be inspected before and after the race to verify that they are legal machinery and that their clothing is legal.
And what they're checking for is objects that aren't sharp on the bike, pieces that aren't going to fall off and endanger other riders. They'll check the sticker locations on the bike, make sure, like for Coors and Camel, since they're the big 2 main sponsors in the Supercross series, to make sure we have those on our bikes and stuff. And team sponsors, we'll put those on the back fenders.
The riders are responsible for putting the stickers on their bikes for the contingencies, and they are also responsible to check off on the tech inspection sheet what they are riding.
It's not as tough as everybody makes it out to be, but it's routine from week to week.
We sign them up here, assign them their starting numbers and their practice numbers, and after they have got all that, then we're ready to go racing.
Okay, we all set?
You're all set.
This is round 13 of the Camel Supercross Series. I'm Larry Myers. With me, Steve Wise. And Steve, we're looking at the best from the East and the West as both the regions are getting together for this championship race, and it's going to be a barn burner. We've got the best from the East, the best from the West.
We sure do, Larry. It's going to be a good race with both the best from each side.
Here we go. Gate is dropped. This one is underway. Who is it going to be? As they drive toward corner number 1, it's anyone's guess. It looked like the Yamaha of Jeff Emig, rider number 18, and indeed it is. The Yamaha Speedster gets out in front in this one, and that's the place to be. He's followed closely by Buddy Antonez, rider number 20. I can see the Kawasaki of Talon Bolin right behind him. The leaders in both the East and West region are back just a ways from the front runners in this one. We expect, though, to see them make their presence felt before this one is over. Jeremy McGrath in the West and Brian Swank in the East. But right now, out in front, it's all Jeff Emig aboard that Yamaha. And Steve Wise, the past several weeks, Emig has been riding a 250. Today, though, going back to the 125. What kind of problems will that create for him?
Well, Larry, it'll create a few problems. The 250 has quite a bit more horsepower than the 125, but the advantage of the 125 is it's so much lighter. You're able to throw the bike around, and it won't tire you out nearly as much.
From a rider's standpoint, is it difficult to switch from one to the other?
Well, it is for a little bit. bit, but then after you ride the 125 for a while, you can get right into it, Larry.
The 125cc class in Supercross is the farm league of Supercross. It's where the youngsters have an opportunity to prove themselves in front of a huge crowd on the tough man-made Supercross tracks. It's the farm system is what we call it, but nowhere near a minor league caliber of riding. These guys are hot all the way through, and now we've got moves being made through the pack by this young man, rider number 125. He is flat getting it done. That is Jeremy McGrath. Here comes rider number 25. He's moving into contention in this one. 25 coming out of that Eastern Series, Jeremy Buell. Steve, this 125 class is just dynamite. You don't want to turn your set off or turn your back 1 second because you never know what they're going to do.
I'll tell you, these guys, Larry, are after factory rides, full factory rides, and they're out there trying to prove themselves to show that they have what it takes to be a top factory rider in America today.
And we'll be back, Steve Wise, to watch them prove themselves right after this. Stay with us. Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge main event. Emig continued to leading the way, and right behind him comes Buddy Antunez. Emig has opened up about a 15-bike length lead now over the rest of the field. Antunez running in the number 2 position. Behind Antunez is number 311. That's Tyson Boland. Then comes our leader from the Western region, Jeremy McGrath, rider number 125. Behind McGrath, Jeremy Buell is coming into play on this one, and well back off the lead, number 42. And Boland goes down, and Antunez is with him, and as Boland picks up his bike, he almost knocks Antunez off. That was the battle for the number 2 position, and both of those riders now are gone. That is going to shake up the standings in this one. Let's go back and take another look at that incident that caused the 2 riders to go down. Steve, what do you see here? Up over the top of that finish line jump, it looked like Boland just got a little bit anxious and jumped right into the rear wheel of Buddy Antunez. And he got up quite incredibly and looked and said, what the heck is going on? Meanwhile, out front, Jeff Emig is just running away with this one. Here he goes. Rider number 18 aboard the Yamaha. Emig has taken the whole shot, and he has taken the crowd. He's taken this track by storm. But coming up behind him, number 125, and there he is, coming into your picture, Jeremy McGrath. McGrath has been the perennial winner in this 125 class since the outset 13 events ago. He's the man most favored to win this Western Regional Championship. And right now, his job, of course, not to win the championship, but to overhaul, if he can, the bike of Jeff Emig, the Yamaha of Jeff Emig, who is clearly dominating this Eastern-Western combined race. Here's McGrath. He fell in his heat race, had to come back and win the last chance qualifier in the 125 class to even make this main event. But I don't think that he's suffering any from that spill, Steve. He looks awfully good right now.
He sure does, Larry. You watch both the top runners here. Their style and their form is very smooth and very calculated in the racetrack. As well as toward the end of the race here, you're going to really be able to see who's in physical condition. But I believe both of these riders are going to take it to the end, Larry.
Well, behind the pack now, rider number 42, that's Brian Swink, and right behind him is Talon Boland. They're in a battle for the number 5 position. The key here is the fact that number 42, Brian Swink, is the leader of the Eastern Regional Series. Now, Swink is not showing us the same caliber of riding that he has been showing us throughout that Eastern Regional race. Normally, he would have been well in front of the rest of this field, but he's just not been able to put it together in this one. As a matter of fact, he's being challenged by Boland. Boland trying to get a drive through that sand pit, now side by side, and he makes the pass on Swink. Swink tries to come back to the inside, but no running room as Boland slammed the door. Tyson Boland aboard the Kawasaki. We saw him crash just a moment ago. We're looking at number 19. That's Talon Boland. He's the younger brother of Tyson. So let's not get the 2 confused. We do have 2 Bolands out there, a Talon and a Tyson. And it's Talon right now strutting his stuff as he has taken over that number 5 position. The gap between first and second, Steve, is closing.
It sure is.
Out front, Jeff Emig running in a number 2 position. Jeremy McGrath. McGrath has a clear track, as we saw just a couple of laps ago. A couple of riders that were between Emig and McGrath conveniently crashed themselves out of contention, and that left McGrath with a clear track. He didn't have to worry about passing anyone, and he certainly has taken advantage of that situation. Now, shortly, we'll be coming upon some lap riders, and that could be a factor in this one. McGrath clearly the more experienced rider of the 2, and so far this year, we'd have to say the more talented. When we go into the 250 class, Emig has been doing one heck of a job, but McGrath is just a little bit better, I think, 125 rider at this stage in their careers. Jeremy McGrath continues to close. Now let's make that about 6-7 bike lengths. And wow, did he get a gap there. He was able to drive right up on top of that tabletop, and I would say he picked up 3 bike lengths in the process, Steve.
Well, Larry, he's jumping that tabletop jump like nobody else in the class here. And what he's doing, he's gaining a lot of time by jumping all the way to the top of that tabletop, Larry.
Now, both Emig and McGrath are aggressive riders. You can expect that Jeff Emig would try to drive to the inside. Jeremy McGrath would try to go to the inside and put a block pass on Jeff Emig. Now, Emig is the kind of guy that will not take that setting down or standing on the pegs, if you will. He will try to drive right into McGrath to bust that block. He'll do whatever it takes to stay out front. They're both aggressive. They're both talented. We'll have to see which one of them is going to come out on top. Steve, would you make a pick at this point?
Well, even though these riders are young, Larry, there's a lot of experience, a lot of racing years behind each one of them. And I'll tell you, Jeremy McGrath, I believe, has the advantage right here because he's dogging Emig. And here he goes with that jump. Well, he didn't do it this time. He lost a little bit of time there. But I believe McGrath is sitting back, looking at his lines, watching Emig, and I believe he's going to make his move any moment.
Jeff Emig riding for the Yamaha factory team, while Jeremy McGrath is a member of the Pro Circuit Peak Antifreeze Honda racing team. Steve, when you said he's looking at his lines, and there he goes to the inside. He's trying to make a move. Jeremy McGrath to the inside of Emig, but look at Emig grab a handful, and Emig takes the line away. That's the kind of aggressive riding I was talking about. Emig knew he was there, and I thought he was passed, to be very honest, but Emig says no dice and slammed the door. It was a heck of a move.
Well, Larry, in professional motocross, you've got to make your path stick, and you've got to make them solid. And McGrath wasn't able to do that, but he's trying and he's trying.
McGrath dove to the inside that time. Now, he had an opportunity to take Emig all the way up to the wall and try a block pass. He chose not to do it for some reason. That doesn't mean maybe the next time around that he won't try it. And here we come up to that tabletop jump again. Let's see what happens this time. And he jumps it, and Steve right there, he had him set up for the pass. He jumped to that tabletop jump. What a move. Went to the inside of Emig. Emig was wide open. Had no idea that McGrath was going to do that. And he was just history. Now, Emig comes right back. He tried a block pass. He was just a little bit too late getting there. Steve, let's go back and take another look at that pass. Now, you called it when you said he was the guy jumping this step-up jump. Now, tell us what's happening.
Well, notice, Larry, he started from the outside line, cut across back to the inside, so he had a good line coming into this turn here, cleared the jump, made an incredible amount of time for that jump, and then basically took the line away from Emig and then went out of there in the lead.
Jeff Emig says, what happened? Outstanding Supercross move on the part of Jeremy McGrath.
And now Emig has to jump right back and take the same advantage that McGrath had. So what Emig needs to do is he needs to watch McGrath take that jump when he passed it to see if he can make up any time there.
Steve Wise, a former professional motocrosser and Supercross rider, as a matter of fact, winning a Supercross event on his birthday in New Orleans a good number of years ago. Steve, do you remember the year?
I remember very well, Larry. My birthday in 1979.
Boy, what a birthday present that was, taking the checkered flag in that Supercross. Right now, looking for a checkered flag, Talon Boland in the number 4 position. He's going to see it from that spot if he doesn't wick it up just a little bit. Immediately in front of him, rider number 25. That's Jeremy Buell out of London, Ohio, aboard that Peak Antifreeze Honda. So we've got Hondas all over this place, one in first place, and Jeremy sitting back in the number 3 position. In between them, a sandwich is Jeff Emig aboard the Yamaha. Now Boland is starting to pick up the pace just a little bit. He's becoming more aggressive as we work through these lapped riders. Boland getting a little bit squirrely. Buell goes to the outside, and Buell got squirrely. Whoa, we're going to see all kinds of action in this 125 main before it's over, because I do not think that Talon Boland wants to settle for that number 4 position.
Well, Larry, these guys are used to running with their own racing skills in the East and the West, and now that they're together, it's even tougher. Boland and Buell are used to running up in the first and second place position, but they're back there dicing for third and fourth, and they're going to be tough.
Well, Jeremy Buell has won a pair of 125 Eastern Regional races this year. Talon Boland earlier this year won the Houston event, and that was another combined 125 East and West race. So they're all experienced winners, and they're really pounding this racetrack, but right now they're fighting each other. The leaders are well out in front of the pair, and really are not going to come to play in this one unless something unexpected might happen to them. We're watching a battle here for the number 3 position, and it's a good one. Jeremy Buell, rider number 25 aboard the Honda. Number 19 is Talon Boland, and Boland again draws close. This is a good section of track for him, Steve. He seems to find a good drive, gets good traction in that area.
His lines seem to be really good, Larry, as well as his suspension may be working a little bit better than Buell's for those bumps.
Steve Wise, former motocross star, knows what he talks about. Meanwhile, up front, we're looking at Jeremy McGrath, rider number 125. McGrath taking over the lead as he passed Jeff Emig, and Emig has not gone away. Rider number 18, less than 2 bike lengths as this one is starting to wind down, separating McGrath and Emig. Emig has not ridden this well, I promise you, Steve Wise, all year long. He is really putting together a fine race effort.
Larry, once you've been passed and you're in second place and you can stay with first place, that's a very good feeling because you know that you have a chance to possibly win the race.
Now, the rider that they just jumped over, we saw a brief glimpse of him running back across the track. We want to point out again that was Tyson Boland, and Tyson has been down a couple of times tonight. And here we go, checkered flag, and McGrath wins it. Behind him, Jeff Emig, an outstanding race effort on the part of that young man. Had to come from off the pace to get the job done. Here's the battle for the number 3 position. Rider number 25, Jeremy Buell, and number 19, Tyson Talon Boland. There, I got my Bolands mixed up again. They're headed now for the checkered flag and the fight for third. Look at this. He's running in underneath him and no go. Not quite enough room. He gave it everything he had, but he's going to come up short. Jeremy Buell will take third. Let's give fourth to Talon Boland. Unbelievable race effort in the last couple of corners by several of these riders. Let's go down to the winner's circle. Wendy Walsh is with Jeremy McGrath.
Thanks, Larry. I have a very happy young man here. You are still the points leader, and you know, I noticed you were jumping a part of that track that nobody else was jumping tonight.
Well, that was up on the step up. I went through that in practice, and only Brian, my teammate, was doing it, and it worked well for me in the main. I was gaining seconds on Emig, and everything worked out through that. You know, I couldn't have done it without Honda, Pro Circuit, and Peak, and Scott Goggles, Bill helmets, everybody.
Well, you certainly did it tonight. That's Jeremy McGrath, winner of the 125 main event here tonight in Dallas, Texas. Back to you, Larry.
Well, thank you very much, Wendy, and our congratulations to the winner of the 125 main, Jeremy McGrath. He was followed across the line by Jeff Emig, Jeremy Buell, Talon Boland, and Brian Swink in that order. Now, here's a look at the standings. In the West region, McGrath, Lamson, Emig, Craig, and Gaddis. Over in the Eastern region, it's Brian Swink on top, followed by Jeremy Buell, Boland, Henry, and Karsten. And we'll be back with more Supercross action right after this. Welcome back to Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge. I'm Larry Myers, with me Steve Wise. We're in Texas Stadium, Dallas, Texas. It's round 13 of the Camel Supercross Series. Now, earlier we watched racing action from the 125 class, East and West regions. Had a main event there. Now we've got another main coming up. This is the Coors Light Challenge, the 250cc main event. In Camel Supercross, this is what it's all about. Here's how the riders made it into the main. First, they raced in a pair of heat races. The top 4 finishers from each heat go directly to the main. Those that did not make it out of the heat go into semis. From the semis, top 5 finishers go to the main. One last chance. If you have not made it yet, that's to go through the last chance qualifier. Only the top 2 riders from the last chance qualifier make it into the main. That gives us 20 riders for 20 laps, and that will decide the champion here in Dallas, Texas. Now let's go back and take a look at some of the heat race action held earlier today. I would point out to you that these riders are not only trying to qualify for the main event, but the better they finish, the better pick they will get on the gate for that main event. And that's very important, very critical in Supercross competition. One other reason for going as fast as you can in a qualifier, the rider that turns in the fastest time in qualifying gets a Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point. At the end of the season, the rider that accumulates the most Showdown points will walk off with a $25,000 bonus from Coors Light. Heat race number 1, 8 laps long. These 3 riders were in it all the way. Out front, rider number 7 on a Kawasaki, Jeff Matasevich. In second place, our defending Supercross champ, Jeff Stanton. Rider number 1, he's aboard a Honda. Third place, rider number 4, back behind Stanton now, is Mike Kidrowski, also on a Kawasaki. Now, that white flag indicates the last lap of this 8-lap heat race. Now, throughout the heat race, Stanton has been all over Matasevich, but has been unable to get the job done. He's been on the inside, he's been on the outside, tried every trick in the book. He's got one more coming up on this, the last lap of heat race number 1. Watch them as they go into this next corner. Stanton's going to try a block pass. He gets the inside line, bam! Came up just a little bit on the short side, had to hit the brake. If he hadn't, they'd have both gone down. Let's take another look and you'll see what I mean. Now watch Matasevich. He goes deep into the corner, tries to square it off. Here comes Stanton underneath him. He got there just a little bit late. If he'd have stayed on the gas, well, he'd have hit Matasevich, taken the wheels out from under him, and probably both Matasevich and Stanton would have ended up on the ground. They'd have had to gone into the main event through the semi. That, of course, would be an extra race, and I assure you neither Stanton nor Matasevich would like that. Here we go, the time, 7:23:08. That'll be the time to shoot for in heat race number 2. Here are the results of the first heat. Matasevich, Stanton, Kidrowski, and Stevenson, they go to the main. Again, that time, 7:23 and 8/100. Okay, heat race number 2. Here's the giant, rider number 8, the Frenchman, Jean-Michel Bayle. He's been on a hot streak. He's looking for his 8th win here in Dallas tonight in this main event. If he makes it, he'll be the first rider in the history of Supercross to turn that beat. Now, that main event is still to come. This is the opening lap of heat race number 2. Damon Bradshaw, rider number 11 from Charlotte, North Carolina, aboard the Yamaha, 18 years old, takes the whole shot. Right behind him, number 8, Jean-Michel Bayle. Then comes Ronnie Tishner and Jeff Ward. Ward came from out of the middle of the pack, had a great drive going on the opening few straightaways and corners and jumps of this heat race. He moves into number 3 position by passing Tishner. Meanwhile, out front, the battle continues and the battle develops between Bradshaw and Bayle. Now, no love lost between these two riders. We go back to 1990 when each of them won 5 Supercross events in the season. Both of them, though, due to injuries, were out of contention for the Supercross championship. It boiled down to the last race of the year. The two of them going for the lead at the LA Coliseum and bumping not once, not twice, but maybe 3, maybe 4 times. And the end result, a lot of name calling, protest file, but it all worked out. And this year, there have been no conflicts between the two. Let's hope it stays that way. Damon Bradshaw out front in heat race number 2, followed by Jean-Michel Bayle. And don't forget, not only do they want to win to get into the main event, but they want to win to establish the best position that they can possibly get on the start line for that main event. And also, they're looking for the fast time. The time that Jeff Matasevich, as we see the white flag, 1 lap to go, turned in heat race number 1, 7 minutes, 23 and 8/100ths of a second. That's the time to beat to earn that Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point. The rider that accumulates the most points in the course of the season earns a $25,000 bonus from Coors Light. Just about half a lap remaining now of this Dallas track, and heat race number 2 will be history. Now, Bayle has been following Bradshaw for 7.5 laps. 7.5 laps. He's been studying the lines that Bradshaw has been taking. He knows exactly where he might be able to go to make a pass, but Bradshaw not prone to making too many errors here. He's rode a superb race up until this point, and Bayle has not been able to get a wheel on the inside. All he's done is has followed Bradshaw and worried him, but watch this corner coming up. One mistake on the part of Bradshaw. A lap rider causes it. Bayle squirts to the inside, and Bayle takes the checkered flag. Look at that time. He's also taken a faster time, 7:19:64. And did you see Bradshaw? He was mad. Watch what happens. A lap rider in front of Bradshaw is going to slow the pace. He sees Bradshaw coming, and Bradshaw tried to get to the inside, but Bayle was just a little bit quicker. Bayle got to the inside, got the drive, takes the checkered flag, and watch Bradshaw one more time as he's held up by Dean Matson, rider number 21. I think Matson wanted to get out of the way. He just didn't know where to go, but it sure made Bradshaw mad. Watch this. I don't know, Bayle made it too. Let's go to Wendy Walsh, who was with Bayle.
Thanks, Larry. Well, I'm here with the man. This is the man that just did that spectacular pass. How come you have this ability to just come on so tough right at the end of a race?
I know Damon was a little bit scary to have me in this back, so I just tried my best for passing him in the last laps, and I passed him just in the last third. It's very great.
Well, it was spectacular, that's for sure. Thank you very much. Back to you, Larry.
Well, thank you, Wendy, and our congratulations to Jean-Michel Bayle, who was followed across the line, as we saw, by Damon Bradshaw, Mike Fisher, Jeff Ward. And Bayle wins the Coors Light Silver Bullet, a showdown point, his time of 7:19:64, just about 4 seconds faster than Jeff Stanton. Here are the standings in that contest. Bayle has 4 points, Matasevich 4, Jeff Stanton 3. Damon Bradshaw would have made it a little closer if he'd have won that heat race. He only has 1 point, still a long way to go in the season, and that $25,000 bonus. Semi number 1, it was Cooper, Dubach, Young, Hawthorne, and Somo. They made it to the main. Semi number 2, Tishner, LaRocco, Keith Johnson, Sean Kalos, Fred Andrews, and out of the last chance, it was Warden Taylor. And we'll be back with Supercross action right after this. Stay with us. Back to Supercross. Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge. I'm Larry Myers. With me, Steve Wise. We're in Dallas, Texas at Texas Stadium for round 13 of the Camel Supercross Series. Now, the 250cc main event, the Coors Light Challenge, is on the line, and we're just a few minutes away from getting that one underway. Riders are tense, they're set, they're ready to go, getting last-minute instructions, or words of encouragement, I should say, from their mechanic. Now, before the gate drops, let's go back 1 week ago to Charlotte, North Carolina for round number 12. Take a look at the action there. That's right. Raincoats, umbrellas, garbage bags, you name it. They were over the heads of the spectators. It was raining in Charlotte. Track was a slippery, slimy mess. Damon Bradshaw, hometown hero and favorite to win his second one in a row, took the early lead, but watch Guy Cooper out of Stillwater, Oklahoma. The Suzuki rider looking for his first ever Supercross win took the lead, but Bradshaw came right back. But then look at that. Top part of your screen. Bradshaw goes down with that mistake. He was out of it. Forget him for the rest of the night. Color him gone. Guy Cooper, on the other hand, again looking for his first ever Supercross win, was riding a phenomenal race. Back in second place, a man that really understands mud, Jean-Michel Bale, was content to stay there. Says, no way, I'm going to try to catch Cooper. He was just unbelievable until this corner coming up. One little mistake, and Cooper knocks the hay bales down. Looked like a bowling alley. There goes Bale to the inside. Bale takes over the number 1 spot, and it appears he's headed for win number 7 of the season. He gets it. Cooper was going to fall one more time. Still got up and managed to finish second. It was an unbelievable race action in Charlotte. Here's the way they stand coming into this one. It's Bale on top, followed by Kidrowski, Bradshaw, Ward, Cooper, and Matasevich. Let's take a look at some of the riders underneath the helmets. That was Jeff Stanton. There's our points leader, Jean-Michel Bale. Damon Bradshaw, the 18-year-old Yamaha ace from Charlotte. Jeff Ward, 2 times a Supercross champ, rides for a Team Kawasaki. He's tough no matter what the conditions. His teammate, another one of the young Chargers, one of the young Lions, is Jeff Matasevich. Steve Wise, I think it's safe to say the winner is going to come out of that group of heroes we just looked at. Any predictions from your side?
I'll tell you, Larry, Bell's going to be tough, but he can't be beat, and I know Stanton's going to be going for it, and Bradshaw wants to gather in his 3rd win of the year there.
Well, Damon Bradshaw, I have to believe that is the toughest rider in the field next to Bale at this particular time. We'll have to wait and see as the field thunders toward corner number 1. And it looks like Damon Bradshaw, rider number 11, is going to lead the Hungary pack through the corner and onto that tabletop and pile up back in the pack. And we have several riders down, and Jean-Michel Bale is one. And did you see that move as he got his motorcycle turned around? That was an unbelievable situation. Jean-Michel Bale is next to last in this one. He is way back in the pack. Damon Bradshaw, followed by Matasevich, and Stanton are way out front. There goes Bradshaw. Boy, you said he was going to be tough, and you know what we said earlier, Jean-Michel Bale would not beat himself. Well, it looks like he may have.
Well, Larry, he just got squeezed out in that first turn there, and boy, he just jerked that bike up and yanked it around and popped the clutch and took off.
That was an unbelievable move. I have never seen anyone get turned around so quickly in my life on a racetrack. That was an unbelievable situation. I'll say it was worth the price of admission. Meanwhile, up front, we have got a heck of a battle going on. Damon Bradshaw is the leader, followed by his nemesis, Jeff Matasevich. No love lost between these two guys. Jeff Stanton comes next, and Jeff Ward is running in a number 4 position. He's rider number 3 aboard the Kawasaki. Back in the pack, the battle is raging as all of the riders are trying to sort themselves out and work toward the front. But the battle now between Stanton and Matasevich, and Stanton is trying to get a drive on Matasevich. They call Matasevich chicken. I'll never know why. But Stanton had a good line on the inside, and now Stanton with a problem. And Stanton went down. Jeff Stanton just plowed into the hay bales. He went down all by himself. It looked like he was really trying to rail around that outside corner. And Jeff Stanton, with no hope now of winning this one, I just don't see how he could possibly come from that far back to catch the fleeing Damon Bradshaw out front. But Stanton was giving it a go. He was giving it everything he had after a 3-week layoff. Now that provides a little bit of running room for Jeff Matasevich, who's in the number 2 position, and Jean-Michel Bale is picking himself up off the ground. Bale is making more mistakes in one race, one Supercross race here, than he has made, I think, in the past 2 years, Steve.
That's really amazing, because Jean-Michel Bale is usually a very smooth, calculated rider, but as we can see, the being in the points lead, Larry sometimes brings undue pressure, and you make mistakes at times.
Meanwhile, Bradshaw, rider number 11, continues to pick him up, lay him down out front. spot, and Matasevich is not going anywhere, nor is Jeff Ward in the number 3 spot. They're studying every move that the rider in front of them is making. Ward is trying to figure out how to get around his teammate Matasevich. Matasevich is trying to figure out how to make up some ground on a fleeing Bradshaw. The gap between the first 3 stays about the same as it has been the past couple of laps. No one seeming to pull away, no one seeming able to gain. Riders are moving through the first half of this event here in Dallas, Texas. It's round 13 of the Camel Supercross Series. Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. And Matasevich goes down. Jeff Matasevich comes through that corner, and it looked like he just grabbed a handful of throttle a little bit on the early side. Jeff Matasevich spun himself out of contention in this one. Let's go back and take another look and watch what happens with Jeff Matasevich. Steve?
Well, Larry, he just got on the throttle too hard here. The weight was too far over the front of the bike. He should have had the weight more centered on the motorcycle, and he just spun it out, Larry.
Lack of concentration. Okay, now, meanwhile, here's what has happened. The battle for that number 4, or 3 position, rather, 3rd position, has brought the 2 riders, the Kawasaki and the KTM, closer to Jeff Ward, who is running in 2nd. So Kwiatkowski is closing on his teammate, Jeff Ward. Here's that battle. This is for the number 2 position. A pair of Kawasaki's going at it. They're teammates, they're friends, but we're on a racetrack. So what goes through Kwiatkowski's mind? Will he be gentle if he's able to make the pass with Ward?
Well, Larry, that's tough to say. You know, when you're out there, they're professionals. They know that they have to give it all to the limits, take it to the limits, and do the best they can. And I think they'll be shoving and bumping as much as they can.
I guess if you're Roy Turner, who is the manager of the Kawasaki team, you're happy to see the lime green motorcycles up there in 2nd and 3rd, but you've got to cringe when you think of the potential, what could happen should Kwiatkowski try to pass Ward and both of them end up on the ground. That's one thing that most certainly has to strike fear into the hearts of a manager. And speaking of managers, Steve, you know, we've pretty much ignored them throughout Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge. We've talked with riders, talked with mechanics, but the managers play an integral part of this whole thing. Now, earlier today on Man and Machine, we talked to some managers to find out just what their function is.
There is no primary function of a manager of a race team. There's a lot of aspects of the job, you know, obviously signing the riders and taking care of the riders, working with the riders to try to do anything you can to bring out more performance at the races, both with the riders and the machines, dealing with all the daily routine. Just in the office, that's a lot of work in itself.
We do a lot of work with development and preparation of the race equipment. Some of the races are international. A lot of preparation there for shipping bikes and equipment to Japan or overseas to Europe. Well, actually, both of us and I think the other 2 team managers used to be motocross race mechanics.
I think we started together in probably 74, maybe, I would say,
yeah.
You and I. Yeah, and we worked together through 78, so that was a lot of years of working together. And
a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, we did. A lot of mutual
respect. We're still friends, and you know, we have our jobs and responsibility. And it's like, I think the riders have a lot of, I'm sure, respect and admiration for each other's ability, but, you know, they still, when it comes down to doing their job, they turn into racers, and there's bumping and tagging and grinding and just, you know, the commitment it takes to get the job done.
The most difficult thing is probably just dealing with the pressure on a daily basis. You are expected to perform, you are expected to win.
Best part is winning events, winning races. And, you know, if you come out on top of the pile at the end of a night, that's probably the best feeling.
Well, to Dave Arnold and Roy Turner and all of the other team managers, best wishes for coming out on top of that pile. That's it for this week's Man and Machine, but we have a lot more Supercross action coming your way from Texas Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge, continues right after this. Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge. Back to the action, and Mike Kwiatkowski continues to plod and try to catch his teammate Jeff Ward, when Ward is trying to catch this young man from Charlotte, North Carolina, and Ward has indeed drawn close to the rear wheel of Damon Bradshaw. What happens is the battle behind a rider makes him pick up his pace. Now, Kwiatkowski started to close on Ward, and Ward has picked up the pace to stay ahead of Kwiatkowski, and all of a sudden he's catching Bradshaw. Look at this. We've got the lead narrowed down now to about 3 laps. Jeff Ward is riding as well as he's ridden all year, Steve.
He sure is, and I'll tell you, when you're up front, Larry, there's a lot of pressure because you're trying to think, where are they going to pass me? Where are they going to pass me? So I'll tell you, Damon is under a lot of pressure right now from the Kawasaki factory.
And Damon got just a little bit out of shape there. He brought it in nicely. Now, Damon is only 18 years old, still a teenager. Behind him, the elder statesman of Supercross. Look at that. Ward had it in his mind. If he'd have been about another 3 foot closer, I think he'd have tried a block pass on Damon Bradshaw. Ward is 29 years old. He has seen and made every move to be made on a Supercross track. I said earlier that I didn't think that Ward would be as aggressive maybe as some of the younger riders, but look at this. Jeff Ward draws alongside Damon Bradshaw over the finish line jump, and Jeff Ward has made the pass, and he takes over the #1 position. Jeff Ward, the Kawasaki star from so many years, 2 times a Supercross champ, has passed the teenager from Charlotte, North Carolina, and he did it in convincing style. Steve, what is your gut hunch? Can Bradshaw come back?
I'll tell you, Bradshaw, don't count him out.
Well, I'm not counting Jeff Ward out. I told you earlier that Ward was hungry. He does not want to break that string of winning at least one event during a season, and he's going to do everything he can right now to bring this one home. Bradshaw has not been able to figure out Ward's style, and he's not been able to find a good line. He's only followed him now for just about a lap, but I don't see any place that Ward is making a mistake.
Well, Larry, they're going to begin lapping traffic right now, and that's going to play a major part in the calculations and the lines. You can see right there, Jeff Ward had the block pass a lap rider, and that's going to be a real tough situation here, and experience is really going to pay off right here.
Experience on the part of Jeff Ward, but aggressiveness on the part of Damon Bradshaw. So which one will rule?
Well, it's tough to say.
Headed down toward that tabletop, that step-up jump. Now, Bradshaw eventually will go back to doubling that up, but he can't in practice. I want to go back, Steve, to that pass that Jeff made on Damon Bradshaw over the top of the finish line. Let's take another look at that. Now, here he is setting him up, and what's going through his mind?
Well, Larry, he just got sideways right there, miscalculated that, then Jeff Ward went for it, took away the inside line. As Jeff's coming up this jump, he knows that he has the inside line for the next corner, so he can just take away the line from Bradshaw.
He did. What a masterful move. Bradshaw made that little tiny error, and Jeff Ward was quick to pounce. That's the years of experience. So Jeff Ward, San Juan Capistrano is home for this Kawasaki star, 2 times a Supercross champ, and as I mentioned earlier, 7 national championships. That's 5 outdoor titles to go with his 2 Supercross crowns in his career. Just an outstanding career, an outstanding rider, and what a boon he has been to the sport over the years. 29 years of age. He doesn't have that many more good years left in him, but he says, I'm going to ride just as long as I can, as long as I'm enjoying it. And he certainly is enjoying himself right here, right now. The crowd is behind him. I think they'd love to see a Jeff Ward win here in the Texas Stadium in Dallas, Texas.
Well, Larry, I'm going to predict that
Bradshaw gets a good drive through that stand, just as you said you were going to predict, Steve, and I know what you were going to say, and Bradshaw come right back and did it, but here comes Ward. Ward says, thank you very much, let me try that. Bradshaw got the drive just as you started to predict, I think, Steve Wise, that Bradshaw was going to come back and drive hard through the whoops, and he did.
And you can't count the old veteran Jeff Ward out either, because he's going to be right back there pressuring and hammering on Bradshaw.
Well, he knows he did it once. He knows that he has it in him, so he's not going to take a backseat, and he's not going to go away. Ward has got to be feeling good right now, and I'll tell you what, I like his position. Here we come to that step-up jump, and as I said, Bradshaw has started to double that thing again. He's landing up on top. He couldn't do it in traffic, but that's what won the race for Jeremy McGrath in that 125 class, and now Bradshaw is the only rider in the 250 class that is doing that.
Well, Jeff is going to be in contention. He's going to have to do that jump as well, because that's going to be a major part of who wins this race right there.
Well, this is something that's hard to figure out. Damon Bradshaw had a rather large lead in this one. Jeff Ward caught him, reeled him in, made the pass, and for several laps was able to hold off Bradshaw. Now Bradshaw passes back, and, well, he's opened up, I'd guess, about a 15-bike length lead over Jeff Ward in just about a lap and a half.
Well, Larry, sometimes toward the middle of the race, you kind of get a second wind, and you gain that drive back, and you just say, I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to get him.
Let's go back and take a look at the pass that Bradshaw made on Jeff Ward. Steve?
Well, Bradshaw was coming to the inside here, and he just got a better drive off that jump, and he just put the bike to the inside and just took the line away from Jeff coming into this corner here, Larry. Just outbraked him coming right in here.
I'd call that raw power and a little bit of courage as he knocks the hay bale out of his way and says, thank you very much. He had the line, took it, and he holds down the #1 spot.
I'll tell you, Larry, Bradshaw's really rode a smart race. He let Jeff Ward pass him. He didn't lose his cool. He watched his lines, and then he came back and took over the lead and pulled a small lead out here. And if he can hold this, he'll win here tonight.
Steve, you ever wonder where all of the smarts come from that these riders have? You mentioned that he's ridden a smart race. How did he get that way? Well, I'm going to tell you, my mother is watching this telecast, so I'm going to give mothers all of the credit in the world. Earlier, we talked to some of them.
Actually, he was about 4.5 his first race, and he got 3rd place. And we probably picked him up in every turn. We'd run around the track probably as many laps as he went, and we'd pick him up, and he'd start again. That's sort of how it began.
Well, he was having trouble in school, actually. We couldn't keep him in. They kept wanting to kick him out. And so this was kind of a disciplined thing. He could ride his motorcycle if he'd stay in school. We didn't get in trouble. Started bringing home honor roll things.
I feel about this sport like other parents feel about football, basketball, soccer, whatever. I think it's really important that parents spend time with their children, and they have to support their child. If they like racing, then they should support them in it. We have, and I think every parent that spends a lot of time in whatever sport their child wants to do, they'll be rewarded. They really will.
Well, all of that hard work and perseverance is going to pay off out here in just a very few laps as we return to live action in Dallas, Texas at Texas Stadium. Jeff Ward hounding the rear wheel of Bradshaw. He's not going away. He's caught up again. You're right, Steve. Last lap, if he's going to do it, he's going to have to do it now. Less than a lap to go as they round the corner at the base of the finish line jump. Both riders headed toward the first corner in the race down that long starting straightaway. And again, there was the difference. Damon Bradshaw doubled all the way up to the top of that step-up jump. Jeff Ward did not. And look at the margin now that Bradshaw has opened up. Just when we said this was going to get interesting and going to get tight, Bradshaw grabbed a handful of throttle and pulled away.
Well, Larry, that goes to show you just one section of the motocross track can make the difference between winning and losing.
Well, Damon Bradshaw has ridden all parts of this racetrack extremely well. He made one little bobble where he lost that #1 position momentarily, but he came right back, did not lose his cool, and he persevered, and now he's going to take home the win if he keeps it upright for just one more corner and a couple little jumps. And Bradshaw heads toward the finish line jump, and Damon Bradshaw hands off the handlebars, takes home win #3 of this Camel Supercross season. The Charlotte, North Carolina youngster has got to be smiling under that helmet. Steve Wise, quickly, did you ever let go of the handlebars when you crossed the finish line?
Oh, at times.
I guess what I should have said, Steve, was, did you ever let go of the handlebars on purpose when you crossed the finish line? In any event, Damon Bradshaw takes home the win here in round 13 of the Camel Supercross Series. He was followed across the line by Ward, Kedrowski, Fisher, and Stanton. Jean-Michel Bale finished 7th. He'll have to wait at least one more week to collect that 8th win of the season, if indeed he does do it. We'll be back with the winner's interview right after this. Welcome back to Dallas, Texas. Damon Bradshaw has just won the Coors Light Challenge. Let's go to Wendy Walsh, see what he has to say.
Thanks, Larry. We have a very happy winner here tonight, the champion of the 250 main, Damon Bradshaw. Tell us about that final pass.
Well, he left the line open. I just kind of held it on a little longer than he did, and it was one of those do-or-die situations. I was going to win or crash tonight, and I won.
You certainly did, and we're very proud of you. And that's it for Dallas, Texas. Back to you, Larry.
So Jean-Michel Bale continues to lead the series, followed by Mike Kedrowski, Bradshaw, Stanton, and Jeff Ward in that order. Steve, here in Dallas, the folks got their money's worth.
They sure did, Larry. The battle between Damon Bradshaw and Jeff Ward, and the pack stayed together, and the racing's going to get better and better as the year continues on, and these riders did a fantastic race tonight.
Oh, they are. They're going to get more aggressive, too, because we're winding this series down. We're off to Las Vegas as Supercross 91. The Ultimate Challenge continues next week. For Steve Wise and Wendy Walsh, I'm Larry Myers. So long until then. gamble instead on high-speed straightaways, bone-jarring moguls, and jumps that propel them up to 70 feet in the air. The stakes, the right to be called champion of the Camel Supercross Series. Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge, is next. SuperTrack presents Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. At the Silver Bowl in Las Vegas, Nevada, the site of the Coors Light Challenge, round 14 of the Camel Supercross Series, Team Honda's Jean-Michel Bayle is on a collision course with a record book. The championship points leader needs a single win to become the first rider in the history of Supercross to win 8 events in a single season. On hand, thousands of fans looking to see if Bayle will roll a 7 or an 11, or will it be snake eyes at the drop of the gate? Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Myers, and welcome to Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. Now, with me to help bring you all the excitement of Supercross, the women's national motocross champion, Mercedes Gonzalez. Mercedes, here in Las Vegas, is it a crapshoot?
Larry, in Las Vegas, they post odds on just about everything, but tonight there's no betting line. It's just too hard to call a winner tonight, and it's a Las Vegas crapshoot.
The field is something else. It's going to be tough for whoever does it. With more on that, here's Wendy Walsh.
Thanks, Larry, and I do agree with you. Picking a winner tonight is going to be next to impossible. So far this season, 3 riders have won races. Those, of course, are Stanton, Bradshaw, and Bayle. Of course, there are several other riders who think that they can beat those guys. What it boils down to is who gets the start and who wants it most. Back to you, Larry.
Well, thank you, Wendy, and we'll be back with exciting Supercross action right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada, where the 125cc main event is just about set to get underway. Now, the riders are on the line and in the process of taking their warm-up lap. A final look at this racetrack before the gate drops. Here are the standings heading into this Las Vegas round. Jeremy McGrath, Lamson, Emig, Craig, Jimmy Gaddis rounding out the top 5. There is the start line. Now, the riders are poised, just about set to go. Jeremy McGrath, our series leader, rider number 125. Now, he's getting last-minute instructions from his mechanic, and that's what McGrath looks like underneath all of that safety equipment that he wears, the helmet, the shoulder pads. Interesting to note, he won here 1 year ago in his 125 class, and so far this season he's won 4 times in this western region. Here's a look at the track that the riders will be competing on tonight. And if you don't have a map, well, you better pay close attention to those in front of you, because the track doubles back on itself a couple of times, and it'll be easy to get lost out there. In between those double backs, there are double jumps, triple jumps, single jumps, whoop-de-doo, straightaways, bank corners. Just about everything that you could put on a Supercross track is here in Las Vegas. The folks from MTEG, Mickey Thompson Entertainment Group, did an excellent job in putting so many obstacles in such a small, confined area. Mercedes, the 125 main, about to get underway. The racing so far tonight during the qualifying rounds has been extremely exciting from several riders, I might add. There's Jeremy McGrath, number 125. Steve Lamson, number 29. Just 2 of the field that is going to put on one heck of a show, as this one is just about set to go. Any favorites?
I would say Jeremy McGrath would be my favorite.
Good pick, and Jeremy McGrath on the inside looks good, but no, McGrath had some company there, and he was nosed out by Buddy Antunez, the Suzuki rider. Antunez takes the whole shot. It's Antunez out front. Diving to the inside was McGrath, but he had nowhere to go. Antunez in first, McGrath running second.
I would say with McGrath running second that he's an all-time favorite to win this race tonight.
I would have to agree with you. I think he'll keep the pressure on Antunez, and Antunez will have just about absolutely nowhere to go. Jimmy Button in number 48 running in the number 3 position. Big, tall, lanky rider sitting back and watching the lines being taken by Antunez and McGrath. Everyone now just moving at breakneck speed. McGrath went wide. Antunez taking the line in the middle of the racetrack. He was waiting, I think, to see where. And look, there goes the pass on the inside. McGrath just cut the wheels out from under Antunez, and he makes the pass. Can he hold it? Yes, indeed.
Boy, Larry, you could see McGrath picking different lines and just setting up Buddy Antunez, and he took advantage of that spot.
Well, Antunez went wide into that corner, and it looked like he was trying maybe to protect his line, was going to shoot down across the front of Jeremy McGrath, but McGrath was just too quick, and he was gone. Here comes Jimmy Button now to challenge Buddy Antunez. Button goes to the inside. Can he hold it? Oh! Now that was close. Button had a choice to make there. He could have gone to the outside and taken that line away from Antunez, but I think had he done that, both riders may have ended up on the ground. So wisely he chose to hold on to that number 3 position.
Yeah, a lot of times it pays off just to hold off one more lap and see where the guy's going to go and maybe set him up for the following lap. And as you can see, setting him up right here. There he goes for the pass.
Inside, and look at that! Wow!
Oh, boy, look at this race. Oh,
there, Button got the job done. That was a beautifully executed block pass.
Boy, as we said before, there's a lot of block passing, and that's what it takes to do good in Supercross, and these guys are aggressive today.
Are you surprised at the performance by Jimmy Button? He's not ridden this well. I don't think he has all year.
Well, at Phoenix, he rode real well, and I think his confidence up, and Buddy hasn't been faring out too good this season, so you got a good battle right here.
On Mercedes, there are a lot of battles coming up in this 125 class, and you'll see them all from Las Vegas in the Silver Bowls. Supercross 91, we're in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Larry Myers, with me Mercedes Gonzalez, and we're watching a battle for the number 4 spot.
Boy, Lamson and Michael Craig are having an excellent race. They're just watching each other. I think Michael Craig's going to try to make a move here pretty soon, but Lamson looks good, and he's going really well.
Well, right in front of Lamson is Buddy Antunez. Antunez has fallen off the pace, and actually Lamson, Craig, and Bolin have caught up to Buddy Antunez. We're looking at something like 4 or 5 bike lengths separating them. Antunez in 3rd place, so this is the battle for 3rd, and a lot of points go with this.
Ooh, did you see Buddy just mess up on that triple jump? Buddy's endurance, I'm not sure how good it is, but I know Lamson, and Michael Craig just passed Lamson.
Indeed he did, and now Craig is trying to get, oh, that was a lap rider there. But Michael Craig just blew by Lamson.
As I said before, it looked like he was setting up Lamson, and sure enough, he was checking out his lines and took advantage of it.
Well, if we go back 1 week ago, Steve Lamson, on a practice day prior to the Dallas race, took an awfully hard crash. And here goes Bolin to the inside. Tyson Bolin is going to get the job done. Can he hold on? He's got the good line. Can he hold it?
Boy, that battle's just taking them right up to Michael Craig.
Look at that. Bolin and Lamson running the switchbacks. The jumps, and they're just switching back all over the racetrack, changing their lines. But Lamson drops back 1 more spot.
It's great when the riders utilize a lot of the track and cut back and forth, because it makes it interesting. Plus, the rider in front doesn't know where the guy behind him is going to be.
Steve Lamson, number 29, I started to point out, crashed a week ago in practice, and it looked like he was okay. He got up and walked away, but then he started limping. He felt dizzy. Oh, and Antunez almost lost it. They took Lamson to the hospital a day later and found out he had a broken ankle. So his timing could be off. He could be riding in a little bit of pain, and he did have to lay off for several days. Now, that could explain, and making no excuses for the young man, because he's doing an outstanding job, but that could explain the problems he's had out on the racetrack.
That's quite possible,
There
Larry.
goes Craig. Craig side by side with Buddy Antunez. This is the battle for the number 3 spot. Craig just blew by on that corner, and Antunez come down low and dove underneath him to hold on the number 3 position.
Antunez really tried to block his line there, and he did a really good job, and he stayed in front of Craig, but I got a feeling Craig's setting up Antunez as he did Lamson.
Well, Antunez traditionally has gotten tired in the late laps, and Michael Craig, Talon Bolin, you know, they're kind of bulls.
Look at Michael Craig right here.
Going to the inside again. He is all over Lamson. Craig takes an inside line. Lamson outside. He's got the drive, and he holds on to 3rd.
Antunez is not one easy rider to pass.
Oh, he is riding remarkably well.
He's riding very well. It's impressive.
And look at Talon Bolin is just hovering on the edge, and here comes Craig again. Oh, here he goes. Look at that. What a move.
2 times in a row, Larry. And I thought Michael Craig would be a little smarter on this time, but, you know, it's a lot easier said than done.
I don't know what he can do if he slacks off a little bit. Antunez is going to take them both down. He couldn't have missed him by more than 3 or 4 inches. Look at this battle.
This is incredible.
If you've just tuned in, this is a battle for the the number 3 position.
There
That's
goes
Michael Craig aboard the green Kawasaki. Buddy Antunez aboard the yellow Suzuki. And Craig parked Antunez.
Larry, did you see that? As Craig was in the air, he looked over at Antunez as if saying, I'm going to take you out, and he sure enough did.
Unbelievable. I have to think that Antunez... I'll tell you what, Mercedes, let's go back and take another look at that and see if we can see just what he did.
Watch, Michael Craig just takes him by, which is a smart thing to do.
That was all Antunez's fault.
Yeah, Antunez really should have backed out and saw that there was nowhere for him to go.
Buddy Antunez had every opportunity there to save that one. There was no contact at all. I thought that Craig had forced his way and pushed Antunez into the bales, but that never happened. So a good, clean pass. Michael Craig takes over 3rd. That puts Talon Bowman in 4th. Rider number 311, the Kawasaki teammates.
And look at Boland. Boland's challenging Craig. You know, they're on the same team, but when you're out on the track, it doesn't matter who's on whose team.
Well, they're moving through some lapped riders, putting another one into the books.
This is probably the most exciting battle we got on the track right now. And Michael Craig's handling it quite well.
Jeremy McGrath, he's in that number 1 position, and McGrath, rider number 125. There he goes as he passes a couple of slower riders on the racetrack. He's aboard that peak antifreeze white Honda. Now, most Hondas are red, but the blue and white color of the peak bikes match, of course, the cans of peak antifreeze. And it's a good-looking bike, a good-looking rider, and he's doing a good-looking job.
And Jeremy McGrath just lapped Buddy Antunez, so that tells you how far back Buddy fell when he went off the track there.
Antunez is pretty much white flag. This is the last lap, and Antunez pretty much has given up on this one. Jeremy McGrath is on his way to another one. He has really dominated this Western Series.
He's got to feel so good right now, Larry. I know I talked to him earlier, and he said, if I get the whole shot, I feel good, and I'm going to run away with it.
Well, we just had a quick look at rider number 48, Jimmy Button. And Button is a guy we got to give a call to. He's done an outstanding job tonight. Although Michael Craig is closing on Button for that number 2 position, I don't think he's going to get the job done. There just isn't enough time in this one. Unless, of course, Button is sleeping at the switch. But Jeremy McGrath, the man of the hour. This young man coming from Sun City, California, looks to be a superstar in the making. He'll make a couple of jumps here, headed toward the checkered flag, and McGrath puts another one in the book. And he's feeling his oats. Button finishes 2nd. Michael Craig takes home the number 3 spot. And Wendy Walsh is with our winner. Wendy?
Thanks, Larry. Jeremy, you were hot tonight.
Well, I got a great start, you know. Came out in a good position, and I just had to work my way around Buddy there, and everything, you know, seemed to work great. I can feel a good start coming on tonight.
Well, the Vegas luck was certainly with you. Jeremy McGrath, winner of the 125 main event here in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Well, thank you very much, Wendy. And still to come, of course, is the Coors Light Challenge 250 main event. Here are the results of the 125 class. It was McGrath, Button, Craig, Volan, and Lamson in that order. Let's take a look at the standings after 7 of 10 events in this Western region. It's McGrath, Lamson, Emig, Craig, and Gaddis. And Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge, will be right back after this. Larry Myers with me. Mercedes Gonzalez. It's round 14 of the Camel Supercross Series. We're in the Sam Boyd Silver Bowl in Las Vegas, Nevada for all of the exciting Supercross action. And to date, believe me, it has been extremely exciting. 250cc main about set to get underway. Let's take a look at how the riders got there. A pair of heat races, and out of the heat races, the top 4 finishers went directly to the main. Those that did not make it went to a pair of semis. Out of the semis, top 5 riders went to the main. Still haven't made it? Well, you have one last chance, and fittingly enough, it's called the Last Chance Qualifier. From that race, only the top 2 riders will go into the main event. That gives us a field of 20. They'll race for 20 laps in this Silver Bowl Stadium to determine who will be the Las Vegas champ. This is a look at heat race action held earlier today. Heat race number 1. The starting straightaway a little on the short side, and that provides for all kinds of excitement here in the Silver Bowl. They make that tight left-hand turn. Who comes out out on top, Damon Bradshaw, rider number 11. He's followed by Jeff Matasevich. He was number 7. Ron Tishner is right there aboard that privateer Suzuki. He's number 12. Then Doug Dubach, number 15. Mike Kidrowski is rider number 4. Those are the main players here in heat race number 1. They'll go at it for 8 laps. Top 4 riders go into the main event. Those that do not, as we showed you on that graph, there was Larry Brooks pushing Kidrowski, rider number 230. That's Brooks, Kidrowski number 4. Now watch what happens to Brooks. All by himself, he goes down. Guy Cooper jumps on top of him. Another guy almost hits Brooks from one side. He jumps and he almost gets nailed again. The big loser in this one is probably Guy Cooper, who conceivably could have moved up into a qualifying position. But watch what happens. Brooks is down. Cooper just smashes into the motorcycle. He goes off to the side, lands right in the mechanics area, and he jumps up, holding his wrist. He's in a little bit of pain. Larry Brooks is all right. He was almost used as a pinball in that one, as he jumped from side to side on the track to avoid getting hit by motorcycles. Meanwhile, Damon Bradshaw, followed by Matasevich, completely oblivious to what is happening behind them, and you just had a shot of Brooks, who was just kind of creeping around the racetrack as they lapped him in this 8-lap heat race event. Matasevich giving it all that he has to catch Bradshaw, but it's not going to work. He's going to come up a little bit on the short side. Bradshaw is going to take the win in heat race number 1. Now, the time here is critical. The rider that turns in the fastest heat race win of the night gets a Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point. At the end of the year, the rider that accumulates the most Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown points will earn a bonus from Coors Light of $25,000. So that competition is up for grabs. Bradshaw takes the win. His time, heat race number 1, 6:26.49. 6 minutes, 26 seconds, and 49/100ths of a second. Here's the way they finished behind Bradshaw. It was Matasevich, Tishner, and Kidrowski. Those are the 4 riders that will go into the main event. The rest of the riders behind them go on to the semifinals. Now let's take a look at the competition in heat race number 2. In this one, we're looking at Jeff Stanton, Jeff Ward, Mike Fisher, Mike LaRocco.